In this example we have several different parts, A, B, C, and D, and it looks like we have some parallelograms in each one of these. It says use the properties of parallelograms to solve for the variable and justify your answer. Okay, well, let's take a look here at what we can make a statement about this parallelogram. And we know if we want to find x that opposite sides in a parallelogram are congruent. So we can just set 3x plus 5 equal to 4x. We'll subtract 3x from each side, and x will be just 5. So we can write maybe a 5 here. The justify part, you could very easily substitute 5 back in here, and that's 15 plus 5, which is 20. And then 4 times 5 would be also 20. So x being 5 makes these two sides, makes their measures the same, and they must be. They have to be the same because they're congruent. Now to solve for y here, we're going to use that same property. We're going to say that 2y minus 1 is equal to y plus 3. And then as we solve this here, I'm going to subtract y, I think, and add 1 to each side. So 2y minus y is just y. Those are gone, and we've got a 4 here. As your justification, you could say here for y plus 3, that's 7. We're thinking y is 4. And then 2 times 4 is 8, minus 1 is also 7. So y being 4 makes the measures the same, and that is important because they have to be congruent in a parallelogram. We'll work with the other piece over here, and this one's a little bit different here for part B. Now we have to use a different property of a parallelogram, and that is that the diagonals bisect each other. So if we look at this diagram, we can make the conclusion that this segment here is congruent to this segment here, and this one is congruent to this one. We don't know that all 4 of them are the same, but we do know that if you take a diagonal, it's broken into 2 different pieces by the other one, and those are congruent. So let's solve for x here. We know now that 2x plus 14 would have to be equal to 5x minus 4. I'm going to subtract 2x from each side, and I think I'll add 4 at the same time if that's alright. And let's see here, we've got 18 is equal to 3x. We'll divide by 3. And x will be 6. As justification, we could plug that back in. 5 times 6 is 30, minus 4 is 26, and 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 14 is 26. 1x is 6, and that's what we're looking for here. Let's do y now. We got 4y minus 6 is equal to 2y. So we'll subtract 4y from each side. And that's going to be negative 6 is equal to negative 2y. Divide by negative 2, coming down to the bottom of the paper here. And we find y to be 3. So we'll make that mark here. We'll go back to the diagram. 4 times 3 is 12, minus 6 is 6. And 2 times 3 is also 6. So that's a possible justification. Hey, we found a value of y that makes each piece the same measure, therefore they are congruent, and that is a property of a parallelogram.